Greetings, everybody. I hope that you're doing well. I got a new angle for this camera here, so definitely hope that you're doing well and that your day will continue to be a joyous day. I'm going to try to do some of my camera, so kind of bear with me a little bit. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe it'll work out. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, that's good. Whatever works, whatever floats. Well, greetings, everybody. What's going on, William? How you doing there? Greetings. I'll tell you this. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. I'm feeling a little bit better, but it's been a long day. So, greetings to everyone who's about to come on. Today, we're going to have a talk about those ruffians. Who were they? What was their job before the killing of Harriman Bith? And I'm going to say this just to clear the air. I know some of you may be already members of the Eastern Star. Some of you may be Masons. Some of you may not be Masons or Eastern Stars. So this is really open to any and everyone. But today's topic is dealing with those three ruffians. So we're going to talk about what was their job. I mean, before they even got into the killing of King Solomon, what was their job? Okay. Then we're going to have a conversation in regards to the wayfaring man, or the when they tried to escape, they seen this gentleman who owns a boat. We're going to even have a discussion about who was he, because it all ties into quite a few different things. So greetings, and I hope everybody who's coming on, you're going to get something out of this as always. And if you have any questions along the way, definitely you can always hit me up. The opinions that are given here is based upon my own particular reading and research and my thought about what's actually taking place in the whole process of one becoming a master mason. What is actually going on? And a lot of times when we are going through these different rites of initiation and passages, we don't look at exactly what's taking place, bringing us to a certain point to where we feel we have become part of the society, or just gotten to a certain particular door. And I would say when you become a master mason, you've gotten to a particular door of that particular society. So we're going to get with this tonight. Greetings, sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to be baptized tomorrow morning. Boom! Congratulations. There's no interruption on that, bro. Congratulations on that journey. Definitely, congratulations to you. So we're going to get right into this. Christopher Jackson, what's going on with you, brother? Greeting. All right, Lily of the Valley, number 59. Is that, oh, Christopher Johnson? I thought that was Jackson for a minute. But Johnson, greetings. How's it going, brother? Glad to have you on. So tonight we're going to be talking about them ruffians. What was so particular about them ruffians? We're going to have that conversation today. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had, and I believe that you're going to get something out of it. So the other day, what's up, John? Greetings. So the other day when we was talking and I mentioned the ruffians, I'm going to go a little bit farther on that and talking about that. And to the sister, oh my God, boy, you sisters are something else. To the sister who answered the question, to which way are you traveling? To that sister, my hat is off to you. I don't know where you got it from. I don't know if you was watching an old video where I probably mentioned it or whatever, but you hit that on the head. You was like, yeah, this is where we were going. And boy, I was kind of like, yeah, she's on to something. But definitely, boy, that sister, yeah, that sister's on to something. But anyway, we're gonna get into this tonight. So the three ruffians, who were they? What were their jobs before the plotting of King Solomon? Where were they trying to get to Ethiopia? Why couldn't they get out of the country? The whole thing. So we're going to talk about that. So greetings, everybody. I hope that you're doing well on this day. And so we're going to have this conversation. So in the story of the three ruffians, we find that these three particular ruffians had also plotted with 12 others. Okay, they plotted with 12 others. So in the process of making this plot, that they was going to kill Hiram Abiff. They was going to do whatever it took to get the pass, to get this sacred word that they was in search of or getting. Now, in the process, we all know, for those of us who have gone through this initiation, right? And for those of you who have read the story, you got books, whatever, you got them. But for those of us who have experienced that, we know that in this whole particular process, there's a lot happening. But things that are happening in particular, we don't necessarily pay attention to. And I just want to point out some things. So, in the beginning of this plot to kill Hiram Abiff, we noticed that these three ruffians had 12 others that was with them. And in the process, those 12 recanted. They was like, nah, we're going to back out. But those three continued on with the plot. Now, the circumstances that lies ahead is this. Who were those three ruffians? Okay. And why is it that the temple wasn't guarded? Usually about this time of day, when Hiram Abiff is at his trestle board, he's meditating. He's doing his thing. All right. Now, in this process, they tell you in the story that usually at this time of day, that Hiram Abiff is in the temple, that he's working on his trestle board. But when high noon came, there was no sign of him being in there at all. There was no sign of him to be found. Now, what I find strange is that these three ruffians were more like supervisors in the construct of the temple. They were supervisors, just like you have a manager. Well, they were supervisors. They had not yet obtained the master mason level, but they were supervisors. They were the ones that told everyone else what to do. They were those guys. And those three particular ruffians, what they did, they removed everyone away from where Hiram was doing his meditation. Mind you, I said he was meditating. Meditating. So in the process of him meditating, once the temple was cleared and they guarded those three gates, they guarded the west, they guarded the south, they guarded the east, and he could not escape out the north because it was closed off. I'll get to that later. It was closed off. Now, in the process, you would see that although as he was bum rushed, coerced, they came in and they demanded these passwords, and as he tried to escape out of each gate, there was a blow that was given to him. Okay, each of these blows represented, from my reading, my understanding, and I should advise you to do the same thing. My reading, my understanding is that each one of these blows was given to him at a certain point. It was like a death. It was like this particular blow here should kill you. This blow here should kill you. And he was given three deadly blows, three of them, and they all represent a chakra in the system, in your system. Greetings. What's going on, William? King Solomon had his guards removed, kind of like Trump let the insurrection. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. I liked that. Absolutely. That's what kicked it off. So in the process of removing the guards, and those three are at the gate, right? So what happened was that they rushed in and they was like, oh, you have to give us this password, okay? The sacred word, whatever it is, they demanded it, they wanted it. And in the process of him trying to escape, we all know that he was given these three blows that killed him, and they was directly towards the chakra. Okay, there was a lower blow, a mid blow, the throat, and then to the dome. All right, pineal glands. It was to the dome. All right. Now, in the process of him trying to escape, now mind you, he was in the middle chambers. He was in the middle chambers. There were different chambers. Okay, there was different chambers. All right, you had the porch, then you go in, and then there's the middle chambers, and then there's the holies of holies. He was in the middle chambers. He was doing his works in the middle chambers. All right, I want you to understand where he was at. He was in the middle chambers when this took place. All right, because each of the working tools of a mason is given in the middle chamber. So once they had everything in there, and this is where all the rubbish, this is where everything was in the middle chambers, and this is where he was doing his meditation yet. He had not yet gone to the holies of holies to lay upon the things upon the trestle board. He had not yet made it there. This is why King Solomon was wondering what was going on, because he hadn't made it. He hadn't come. Because as you know in the story, the password could only be given with those three individuals: King Solomon, Hiram-Atai, and Hiram-Abiff. That's the only way the word would be given or received, was with them three. All right, and he hadn't yet made it there. So in the process of him being in the middle chambers, as he was bum rushed and he was being coerced, he was given these three blows. And as he was escaping out, the final blow was to the head. As he was trying to escape, each one of them demanded that sacred word. Each one of them said, if you don't give it to me, I'm going to take your life. And he told each one of them, my life you can have, my integrity never. So it lets you know that as a Mason, one who's part of this society, your integrity should mean everything to you. Okay? So as he tried to go out these three gates and he was given that final blow, right? He was given that final blow. These three ruffians moved his body more than twice. They moved his body more than twice. I'm not going to get into that subject yet, but he was moved more than twice, right? So when they finally got him to his final spot, right? The 12 went back and told King Solomon, hey, look, this is the problem. This is what's happening. This is why Hiram-Abiff is not here. So he told him, hey, look, you go and get yourselves together and you go search all four corners. All four corners, remember? All four corners. North, east, west, and south of the temple. He told them to go search it. And they couldn't find the body, right? Now, the first time they went to search, the body was there, but they didn't see it. It was hidden. Then he told them to go search again. The body was moved before they came back. Once the body was moved before they came back, they was like, we don't know. So he told them to go outside of the temple and begin to search. Then they discovered, hey, I hear these voices, blah, blah, blah. Okay? But here's the kicker. In the process of those three ruffians, they run across a wayfaring man, a surfer, a wayfaring man, one who owned a boat, one who was able to navigate the stars. Who was he? Who was this wayfaring man that they was able to navigate? I mean, who was he? Because it seems to me that he knew something. He knew something. He understood something wasn't quite right with these guys right here. Who was this guy? Now, I will tell you this in regards to some of my readings. I believe that this gentleman was a Moor. I also believe that he was also a Mason. Let me tell you why I say that. Because he asked for a passport. And at this time, we all know that the Moors navigated, they traveled. They were the guys of the sea. And these ruffians wanted to leave where they was at and travel to Ethiopia. So that tells me they was in some parts of Africa. They tell me they was in some part on the continent. This all takes place on the continent. It doesn't take place no place else. And apparently it took place where King Solomon's temple is apparently being built or was built. So that's the Holy Mount. I just want you to think for a moment. It's the Holy Mount where this takes place at. So in the process, they try to escape, and they run across this wayfaring man, and they began to ask him, "Hey, is that your boat?" "Yes, it is." "Where are you traveling?" I can take you where you want to go." "Yeah." "All right. Well, we want to go to Ethiopia." Do you have a passport? Do you have permission to leave? Apparently, he knew who they were or what type of work they did. He knew that. And they knew that he had the boat to get them because he was a navigator. He was, to me, he was a Moor. Just looking at this story and breaking it down for myself. This is what I get out of it. Now, they said, no, we don't. He said, well, I can't take you if you don't have permission from King Solomon or if you don't have a passport, because that's what he asked for, a passport. And they didn't have it, and they didn't have permission. So what do? They run back into, they go back into wherever they come from. They go back there. And I'm going to talk about that in another show, podcast, that where we're actually coming from. But they go back, right? And they find themselves wondering, why did they do this murder? Why did they do what they did? They find themselves in a place of, we can't get out of here, because now the same ones that they conspired and they brought in to kill Hiram, they are now in search of them. Those same 12 are now in search of them. All right. And once they're located, they hear Jubilee explaining what they had done. They're confessing, hey, this is what I did. They're confessing everything they did. And then this is the craziest part. So the ruffians, not the ruffians, the 12 go back and tell Solomon, hey, this is what we heard. We heard everything they said, and this is what they did. He said, well, I'll tell you this. You go back and you capture them. If you're not able to do this, then the same way that they killed King Hiram will be the same way you would die. So they go back and they bring the 3 ruffians in, and they go through this trial. There's a trial that takes place, but it's not necessarily in your ritual. It's a trial that takes place. So in the process, they are found guilty. And then they're told the same way that you killed King Hiram is the same way you will be killed. And they was like, well, damn, we done, right? We done. So this is the same way. So what happens in this whole thing is that you notice that these 3, this is on a whole nother level. When you look at this from an esoteric point of view, these three, and I explained that the other day, are still in function. These 3, they are something that you have to put to death every day. When you may say, well, who are these 3? Well, ego, greed, and envy. That's those 3. Those are your 3 ruffians. But in the personality, as in a person, as in a being, they were sieged, captured, and put to death by the same way. This is why it's important that we must meditate. This is why it's important that we must take aside that private time to ourselves to renew your mind with useful knowledge. This is why it's important that even in scripture, it tells you that Christ says to pour out the old wine and put in new wine. Do you not pour old wine into a new bag? No, you get a new bag, you get new wine, you pour it in there. So this is what we must continue to look at as we go. Ignorance, falsehood, egotism. Shadow warrior, I can get with that. Absolutely. It all plays a part. But those are things that each one of us battle daily. So in this process of them being seized, brought in, trial being had, they get killed the same way they murdered Hiram. They're going out in search of the body of Hiram. Okay, they go out in search of the body of Hiram. So in the process of going to search, they do find the body. But here's the funny thing, and I want you to think about this. They said there were no words or anything that they can find upon the body, but they found a jewel. Now, the funny thing that I find in all of this is that we know that Hiram himself said that they could not reveal the word or give the word unless it was in the presence of Hiram, King Solomon, and Hiram. He said that it needed 3 in order to give the word. You needed 3. So when they find him, why does King Solomon give a substitute word? Why does he give a substitute word when he knows that the word can only be given with those three present? I'm just asking. I mean, that's something I'm looking into right now myself. 5 to 15 minutes a day of meditation will keep you at the head of your emotions, especially anger and heartbreak. Oh my goodness, that's a good way of looking at it. But in the process, so as we go through this journey in life, as we continue to put to death those things that rile up itself, such as ignorance, falsehood, and egotism, greed, and the ego. As we continue to put those things to death, that's your daily fight with those ruffians. But in this case, speaking of Haram Biff, he was not willing to sacrifice his integrity in dealing with those ruffians who was trying to get to Ethiopia. Why was Ethiopia so important to those ruffians? You have to ask yourself that. Now, like I said, I've been trying to break this down for myself. Okay. So when they fled into the country, realizing that they will eventually have to be forced in their consequences, the other conclusion, and three things about it. Okay. Three things you have to look at. Okay. What time of day was it? And what was happening around them, because you know that they was fellowcraft. They wasn't master masons at the time. You know they was fellowcrafts. Okay, so they don't have the password. Okay, for the master mason degree. May I say this here? They don't have the real word. There's a difference. They don't have the real word. All right, they have a password. They don't have the real word. The sacred word. They don't have that one. All right. So in the process of them doing and killing and trying to escape, they come across a Moor who was able to navigate and get them to where they wanted to go, but they didn't have permission nor a passport to leave. They had to go back into the country and suffer the consequences of death for killing Haram Abith. And then at the end, almost close to the conclusion, a substitute word was given. Although King Solomon knew the real word. He knew the real word. But they give you a substitute word. Now, here's what I know for a fact. And you can look this up. That word is a corrupt word. It's a Hebrew word, but it's mispronounced. It's a Hebrew word mispronounced, so it's a what they call a corrupt word. Now, for those of you who are in the craft, maybe out of the craft, I just want you who are in the craft to go and do your research on that particular word and tell me what you find. Because I know what I found for myself. And I won't disclose it here, but I know what I found for myself. And it was interesting. That's why I said becoming a master mason is just one of the doors that is open. It's just one of the doors that are open. And once you come in, you will find that there are many doors that you can take and go into. True that. So in getting into all of that, you come to realize, you'll be like, wow, dude, these ruffians, I'm fighting every day. This system that I'm in, I'm dealing with it every day. This thing that I'm dealing in this society is an everyday fight. However, I have working tools. I have those things that are symbolically given to me that, if applied correctly, will assist and aid me on this journey. True. So those ruffians, that wayfaring man, this is where you get the combination of you're hearing the Moorish rites. I'm quite sure many of you are familiar with the Moorish rite right about now. This is where that comes into play. If you didn't know, you thought, well, where's this Moorish rite thing coming? This is where it comes into play. Because the guy who was a surfer, the boat owner, was a Mason. He was a wayfaring man. He was a Moor. That's who he was. He understood the craft. That's why he was able to recognize them. And he asked them the question, do you have a passport? So, with that being said, I'm going to close it off tonight. I hope that you've gotten something out of this, gave you something to think about. Please go back and check that word out for me because it's very interesting. With that being said, I want to just send a big shout out to all the brothers of the craft, sisters of the order. I thank you for coming on tonight. As you notice, I've been kind of keeping things like 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just getting it in, making, I don't want to drag it out. I just want to hit some high points. And I want you to just think about the craft and the society that you're a part of and special. And when you begin to see it being special, then you're not going to bring anyone in that's not going to uphold it in a particular way. You're not going to do that. When you begin to see the craft and the order as being special, you're just not going to bring anybody in. And that's what I want you to get. So, greetings. Oh, man, you're just coming on, and I'm just getting ready to log out of here. It was a fourth watch. Isn't taught in jealousy, King. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's true. Williams, I can agree. I can get that. I can get that. Let me see what else that I may have missed. What's going on, Prime? Hope everything is well with you. Looking forward to you coming out to Vegas here soon. So, to everyone who's going to definitely come and visit us for our grand session in October next month, definitely I need to know because we're giving out little gifts, and definitely want to say come on through. And I'm going to go ahead and log off, and I'm going to be talking to you later. All right, peace and be well, and whatever you do, stay out the bushes and keep your light on. Blessings and peace.